today. Marjorie Moorhead's poetry books are What I Ask and Every Small Breeze, chapbooks in My Locket, Survival, Trees, Tides, Song, and Survival Part 2, Trees, Birds, Ocean, Bees. Forthcoming, Into the Thrum. Her poems have appeared in Amethyst Review, Tiny Seed Literary, Moist Poetry Journal, and more. Marjorie lives with her family in the Upper Valley, and without further much ado, Marjorie Moorhead.
How everything changed. It was the packed cab ride back to the city from that art exhibit in Hoboken, New Jersey. Drawings on brown paper bags hung on display in a laundromat. I'd gone to see this with my sister, who knew the artist, Lina Newhouser. Standing in the small crowd of onlookers with a quiet but magnetic presence, he wore a beret, was tall, brown-eyed, had a smile from deep inside. I'm betting drawing book was in hand. Later I'd know well its ever-presence and the constant scrawl. A swish, swish of pen gliding on paper, outlining, shading, processing, interpreting, discovering, creating. We all piled into the cab to Manhattan. Jorge knew Lina too. They'd met as participants at an artist retreat. I ended up squooshed next to him. Was it atop his lap? After that, Jorge'd show up at Parsons, where I worked in the art library. We'd go into the village to cozy places he knew and have a coffee, or was it beer? I don't remember. He told me stories, his stories. He showed me his art. I got a glimpse of his heart, and we stayed together. I couldn't know all the drama that would come, all the consequence of our union, how I'd love him, how I'd outlive him, and say a long goodbye in Vermont's peaceful farmland near the river, mountains in view. I hadn't a clue back then of the road to follow, the isolation, the sorrow, the surviving somehow, learning to revere each moment, starting to grow and blossom, turning miraculously toward love again, and then again. How many times in a lifetime do we meet a moment when everything is changed? And now I go to my Post-its. Okay, portal. There's a bruise in the crook of my arm, a portal, the thinnest skin, access to my heart, a bruise where the needle went in and prodded, trying to get blood to flow, a letting, necessary to check and see how I'm doing. The bruise, a yin-yang now of purple and yellow, takes me back, the day I saw them on your arm, grayish-black, a whole row, tracks, the mark of a journey, a descent, a road to the end, an escape route. When you stepped on that path, there was no leaving it. You managed to stray for a while, you stayed, but then you left for good. Me. Warrior me knows days like this pass. Days like this feel like a bruise. Warrior me is wise from battle, having faced death so close as to learn its odor. Wise me knows vanity has been set aside, like an old trunk abandoned on the sidewalk, shed forever. Wise old trunk me knows light is inside, found in the breath, in, then out of each moment. My turtle shell formed from incurable disease and each drug used to fight it. An outer leathery coating for one whose tenderness is soft and squishy away from the air, revealed only when tipped and pried at below the surface. Turtle me knows there are bruise days, but there will be days of connection with music, poetry, laughter, when invisible me and creative me dance. East Thetford, Vermont. Walking saved me years ago, walking the same route every day, day after day, season after season. Early morning, midday, dusk. It was only a mile or so down to the farm and back, a flat road off the main road, probably once a train rail. Grasses, corn, clouds. Backdrop sky for stone house, wood barn, tall stalks, big trees, lilacs. At sunset, simple silhouettes framing pink and orange purple swaths. Smells, wind, birds. My steps, my thoughts, the rhythm of stride, breath, watching and noting details, what changes, what stays constant. Dirt, puddles, tracks. Relationship with land can be just a road claimed with each footstep. You know it because you walk it. Repetition, observation, devotion. All of a sudden, just like that, leaves are red in swaths, tinted by a perennial brush. Autumn hues orange, gold, yellowed. All of a sudden, it's cold in morning's hush, and dark. Fog hangs in valleys until the chill has mellowed. Just like that, sun seems precious, a limited commodity to be hoarded, an aid in the battle against scarcity. All of a sudden, geese fly overhead, squadrons sorted, sailing the clouds towards warmth, squawking commands with levity. Just like that, I tug from my share of sheet in morning's chill, instead of pushing it off to avoid the humid sweat of August. All of a sudden, t-shirts aren't enough. Long pants are pulled from drawers, thick sweaters become a must. Just like that, my little blonde-haired boys look like men. At the table, my husband and I shadowed with long silence. Parents seem brittle, like branches, dry and primed to snap. All of a sudden, life's like a movie, scenes gone by in sequence, family pets grown old. I rock them, our small moments and big events piled on my lap. All storms. We met before the internet, before it was carried in every pocket, consulted for every question. Dying of a disease that had no cure, denied a roadmap for survival, I was convinced this status precluded romantic love. And then you appeared. So unlikely. Medicine improved, death sentence amended. We embraced, came into balance, filled each other's halves. Wholeness brought a child, and then his brother. Such miraculous blessings, full of wonder. How could it be we've grown old together, parented, shared families' sagas, cultivated talents and imperfection? Not clear if we'll navigate every rocky road. Wind blows from all direction. Keep hold my hand and I'll clasp yours. Maybe we'll weather all storms. Because you lifted me from barren desert and held me until I could grow. Because I let you do so. Do I request that you remain? Touchstone, pillar, forever? Is this fair to wonder? Borders. For the second time in a short while, I find myself sitting under raindrops. The sound sweeps in and away as a hard pattering, like hooves of battalion horses moving through a wind-blown storm cloud. Previously, a steady pounding coupled with thunder and lightning. I did not feel threatened then, though later came reports hail had fallen. There was a terror attack in London. My sister and brother-in-law are there. I find myself thinking it's for the best my son is leaving Manhattan for Queens. We could be under raindrops anywhere. Tragedy visits anywhere. Where do we find ourselves? Borders in our minds, what we could fathom and what we could not. Rising sea levels, depleting ice caps, dividing lines. Because an invitation. Because I'm up before the dawn, I see rosy clouds appear as sun breaks. Because it is late November, all is couched in a hazy, cold moisture cluster, festering, gathering, waiting for weight to bring it down as snow. Few leaves hanging on, most have hit the earth, skittered and clattered dryly away. Now tree skeletons stand tall and proud, showing beautiful silhouettes on a cold air screen. Will they get a blanket? How thick will it be? A mini snowflaked quilt joined in unique pattern. Because I worry about such things, I think about the shoveling out and the shuttering in. Because it seems like old school survival, boots pulled over wool, ear flaps, gloves, scarves, tissues, and hot soup at hand. Will the frail and infirm survive, to be warmed by spring and hear its song? Because an invitation is on its way for the hardy. Caught by chance. Pink in the sky, lit by a rising sun, framed in bared branches' tentacles, reaching up to touch soft, cotton candy-colored fluffs. I look for shapes. A shark, it seems, floating up in the sky, the color of a shell's interior, rosy from morning's light. The blue he swims through, true, like Caribbean waters, turquoise and clear. This cloud shark patrols lofty territory, cruising through pink seagrasses, kelp and algae, camouflaged and completely at home, only vulnerable to a breeze which will take the outer edges of this mist shark's shape along for a ride, nudging form into some other creation, to loom, hover, and glide. A changeable scene, pink inhabitants of a blue, welkin sea, the reward of an upward glance. Aquatic forms, caught by chance, in a fleeting cloud ocean, gifted to us down below, on this beautiful, fluid morning. This one's called December Clear. Is this in the right spot? Yes, okay. December Clear. When every leaf that's going to fall is off its tree, when just the trunks stand tall and branches mark their lines in the sky, when you can see through to any nests and see clear the view behind and beyond every stand and thicket, wind allowed to whistle between and around, and no buffer for the barking dog whose voice echoes through the yard, across the road, to the other side of town. No padding, no fluff, no mitigation, just stark and clear and true. Leafless trees, no mincing of words, revealing the sky, showing clustered clouds previously obscured. These days feel like there's no running for shelter, nowhere to hide, ills festering uncured, caught in a flashlight's beam. Are things in place as they're meant to be? Are we deer stunned in the light, seeking moments of clarity? Do our branches reach strong, offer a basket widespread, sprigs woven with verity? Like a scalp newly shorn, what is revealed Summer's sun lights lichen on bark, scarred and smooth. Cold wind sings through crisscrossed twigs lace of open spaces, narrating a ballad of the trees. So in 2019, I was given a scholarship to attend a weeks-long poetry workshop at Provincetown, Mass. At the place called the Fine Arts Workshop. Product placement, which was just a wonderful opportunity. And this poem came from being there. Provincetown Night. Moon over rooftop, under tree branch leaves, color our evening clouds. Palettes of grays, blue, white. Green crowns tickle the edges, raised by old world trunks, barking chimney level high. Watch as the day's sky transforms to night. Bay close, its harbored boats big and small. Ocean on the other side, stretched long with sandy shore. Shark flag flutters announce underwater presence near this thin, hook-shaped curve of land, home to flowers abundant, butterflies and birds. Patio balcony metal chair, painted white, displays tide-gifted rocks and shells. Sun-bleached cedar shingles everywhere line narrow alleyways to the anywheres in our minds. And this next poem, I've had one review of this book published, and the fellow who very kindly reviewed it said he wished he'd written this poem himself, so I figured I would read it to you. It's unusual for me to write from the voice of a sheep, but this is what we had. So this is called O Vine. We sheep, your wool so good against mine, close together, moving as a clump, warm breath, spongy thick coats, followers, a flock of followers, we clump where directed, a herd. Have you heard? Our group is being trimmed, those at the periphery, the unable, unstable ones, pushed to the outside, sheared off to the wayside. Our directors do this. With their dogs, they keep us moving, grazing, feeding, clumping. They grow fat. Our group is thinned, groomed, and we don't even know, don't notice at all. We just keep moving, grazing, feeding, sleeping. Practice. As the household sleeps in this morning's golden dawn, I practice Qigong, exercises shifting weight, shifting breath, marking circles with arms, hips, eventually coming to moves named for bear, eagle, lion, crane. Blood is pumping, but my soul is still. In movement, but calm, I float in space, not concentrating anymore on potential tragedy, anxiety. Our family, extended family, the world seem under shadows. This changes, or does not change, but I have spread the mountains with my arms. I can flex and flow, come what may. Maybe for now. Glass half full today. On my favorite morning, I'm sitting near the window, where outside hangs a simple feeder for the birds, mostly smaller ones, who can pull black oil sunflower seeds through the mesh of this painted blue metal coffee pot shape. They come and go, taking turns swooping in and off again. It's early February. A fresh New England snowfall covers the recent browned and exposed. Light flows stronger, lasts longer. Light grows stronger, lasts longer. We're marching toward votes and Valentines, ready to turn from darkness. Could there be a chance of meaningful change in the air? On this favorite morning, I'm singing aloud to the radio whose station gets me beautiful voices, beautiful words, and I sing along with them, feeling the vibration in my heart. All of a sudden, a small bird, different from the black-capped, white-cheeked little chickadees, settles on the bird feeder mesh and lingers a while. Touched by the extraordinary sight of this tomato-red breast under mud-brown wings, I sing, "Hello, lovely. Thank you for appearing. Welcome to my favorite morning." Okay, now we're moving into the pandemic, which we all remember. This is still good. Yeah, so the pandemic was an interesting experience for me, having gone through the AIDS virus earlier in my existence and seeing how everyone experienced that fear and unknowing and isolating business of this illness that we didn't understand and that just sort of descended on us. And I wrote many poems during that time. I think I had at least 12 that I pretty much named a Coronavirus Diary with a Roman numeral. But so this is As the Spring Birds Sing from 4/13/2020, Coronavirus Diary. As birds sing of spring, we sit in sorrow, under pandemic lockdown, not sure of our tomorrow. Jobs and livelihood disappear. Hunkered down in required isolation, each day we're losing ones held dear. Uncles, teachers, grocery store workers, grandparents sealed in their elder care homes wave to family through locked doors and windows. As we shelter within our enclosing walls, red foxes roam, hedgehogs wander, left to usher in spring without human hustle and bustle. Earth catches her breath. We hide behind masks, scramble for ventilators as birds build nests in the branches and bramble. This year, crowded hospital beds groan as lilac boughs bud, preparing to bloom. This is called Shout, the summer of 2020. Our pandemic history flows from manic making of banana breads and no TP to where mass protest is urgent necessity. A black man died under blue-clad weight, neck held down, casually, by the racist knee of a bully cop, leaning into white supremacy, brutalizing with impunity, thinking his perceived racial superiority grants him immunity, permits him to act as vigilante. Unrest and protest follows, tsunami amassing, a wave led by the outraged brave, building a roar to implement change, correct wrongs, imagine more, imagine better, and bring it about. That is what people in the streets are calling for. That is why we all must shout. Some of these ring a bit too true. This is called Before It Goes, Remember. Remember when you could sleep at the end of day with expectation that upon rise, our world would be okay, when you felt a sense of balance under your feet, connection to earth and sky, because they were alive and well, and you could tell that from abundance. Birds in the air, flowers in the field, bees in the hive. Remember when clouds were clouds and not hovering doom, foretelling firestorms, flood, polar ice ablation. Remember when you felt we were marching toward justice, maybe too slowly, but at least in that direction. When you believed in election, being fair and true representation without question. Okay, and I've got one more and then the title poem from this book. This is called Since the Epidemic. In the early years of my survival, I kept a downward gaze, not wanting to be seen, not wanting to have to explain. It took joining Instagram to bring my eyes up and raise my look out. I started to see things, details in everyday places. I cataloged rust, paint peeling, bricks and graffiti, dried leaves and old drain grates. And I started sharing, posting with hashtags, winning best picture contests for doors, wabi-sabi walls, or lost abandoned toys. The outward gaze helped me be more comfortable in a world where I'd lost my place. Eventually, it was poetry I would find as language and space to tell the story of who I am, my journey forward, memories back. And that's pretty much what this book was all about. And this is the title poem, Every Small Breeze. Every small breeze. Pie-top shapes rest on walls I pass. Porch chair shadows cast by latticed metalwork in morning's sun. As air conditioners whir, mimicking sounds of ocean. They're missing a rhythm of the waves. As treetops breathe in floating clouds, and little birds sing, nestled, sheltered by feathered leaves. As mother and daughter pick blueberries in the distance across a lime-green field. As milkweed, bindweed, and tall grasses mingling host a butterfly who decorates in flits and flutters. As wild carrot flowers spangle with blossom galaxies waving atop tall stems, and vine leaves burst into pinwheels of green. As a long fallen log rests glistening its bright mottled white birch bark peeling in the sun. As I mop beading sweat from hat-brimmed brow before it can trickle a salty stream to my eyes, as every small breeze becomes sacred and each breath a gift, I walk in steps as I will do tomorrow, and tomorrow, as long as I am able. Book number 1. How's everyone doing? Thank you. I'm hearing a little click over here sometimes. I don't know if that's me hitting the table or if it's just something I'm hearing, but we're doing okay. What I Ask was my next book, and the cover is very special to me because I sort of keep rocks that I like, and this is one that was actually in our house. I usually, you know this, Sally, I usually walk around with a very smooth rock in my pocket. This one's a little bigger, but anyway, I was happy that they used that for the cover. Okay. Dear Earth, you are the only nest I've ever known, my shelter, my sustainer. I have feathered and molted, held in your palm, in your forests, on your mountains, at your shores. I have felt love, found calm. I have given birth in faith that our home will provide shelter and sustenance to my offspring, and theirs, and theirs, and theirs. Now I worry, dear Earth, will you survive us and live on? We've trod with heavy footstep, which you must spring back from, with love and concern, this human mom. This is called Poets and Palm Seeds. Poets float in my sky, a chosen constellation, soothing, reassuring, relating what it means to be human on this planet, in this time, in our bodies, beside others of our kind, and and other species too, who live in our world, simply trying to survive, but also to thrive. We all want to thrive, not merely survive. We all have to save one another, stop stepping over each other in our hurry to get somewhere, something. Checkering my Zoom screen, beautifully varied poets, each sharing words from their heart about how we are human at the edge of time. In other words, how we are clinging to a rapidly dying planet. The poets speak of dolphin, they speak of cranes, of fox, of ice, penguins, whales, coral reefs, the Milky Way. Though gathered in hope, we are wet with tears. My heart sinks low, heavy and pulsing. The evening seems to plead with pressed palms. Standing, I leave the desktop to wander a bit, closing curtains as the sky grows darker, looking longingly for a glimpse of our moon, super and blue at the end of this month, a gateway month leading to change. We feel it in the air tonight. I've seen it written on leaves along my walking path. Back in my seat now, focused on the screen, Angela Torres reads her poem about palm seeds and harvesting the heart. When I love trees the most, it's not when there are branched silhouettes against the setting sun, highlighting a pink and orange screen with mingled patterns. Not even in fall, when leaves in a coral reef display of color adorn hillsides with gold, orange, red bouquets. It's not when trees are flowering, sprouting with green, and newly built nests hosting the songs of spring. When I love trees the most, it's a cloudless sky at the turning from June to July. Sun so hot, even early in the day, glasses slip down the bridge of my nose, sweat trickling from eyebrows and tickling a stream between shoulders to waist. Merciful islands of shade offered from fully leafed branches above, puddle between arid pavement deserts, becoming oasis after oasis of cool. As long as I see one ahead, I know I'll make it and be able to recover. Lovely, gracious trees, treasured more than your beauty is your grand generosity. It's called Turtle Island Microfiber. The radio tells me this morning, in voices kind and concerned, there are particles of plastic in Lake Champlain, so small they can't be filtered by treatment plants. Microplastic trash, they call it. Punk rock band, my ears amuse. This plastic from fleeceware will merge with our food chain, is announced. We will eat plasticated fish from laundering our fine-threaded plastic shirts. My son, visiting home from college, has my head spinning, trying to keep up with all his words for environmental and social tragedy. Apparently, we are trying to repossess ourselves of our humanity away from psychotechnology in the Anthropocene. I'm glad his generation is trying to figure it out, because I want my children and theirs to know sparkling water that hosts creatures who cohabit with us and provide sustenance that is clean and pure. Water they can dip their toes into and want to plunge further. Nutritious air that lungs can consume with passion. Will that story be a memory told of an ancient dream of an island called Turtle? Song of Rain. The birds were singing a song of rain. In their song I heard beauty and pain. Birds sang the sound of our story unfolding, our round planet turning, our joy and our burning. Piercing the air with heartbreaking clarity, birds sang of love and charity, and also the pain of the lack of that love, of need, hunger, want, manufactured disparity. As I walked, the birds sang a song of rain, of both cleansing and sorrow, and I thought, how will we possibly make our way through to tomorrow? In the midst of our pain, but also unfathomable beauty, are we capable of balance? Sing, birds, of rain, of salvation. Sing to our hearts and wake up a nation of humans who care. It is high time to give a damn, revere what is given to us as a home. Walking earth as tenants, we're responsible for maintenance, preservation. The birds are singing a siren song, a warning, a pulsing, a call to attention. They're singing a ballad of love, saying, fix what is wrong, only then might you flourish in celebration. These start to get kind of heavy with concern, which I think we've all experienced and know why. Beyond the pale. Woe is the coral reef who chokes in damaged waters. Imagine trying to breathe in a house of smoke. Imagine being caressed by poison palms, embraced by toxic arms, and there's no escape. Imagine you've graciously housed visitors from all walks, all ways, sheltered in your corridors, welcomed in the nooks and crannies, a community of travelers whose paths crisscross, interwoven, to create a sustaining fabric for all. But your place is invaded and the life choked out. Bycatch and ghost gear bring ruin. Host and provider no more, you cannot survive relentless siege and plunder. Bleached to a white surrender, you sway, unhealthy now, in an alien galaxy of floating forever plastic. Ouch. Okay. I'll move away from that, if it is possible. If it is possible. Searching for sunrise this morning, east through freckled patches of window screen, a quiet yellow glow appears, mellow, serene. Not heart-gripping dramatic pinks were sometimes shown, so arresting it feels that one could die happy, now complete, having been immersed in such a thing. I switch to west, our back window view over the river, glistening like diamonds, and there comes a faint pink-purple blush, underlining the full wolf moon, vivid in this waking sky. Small but powerful, our moon at its apogee, glowing at me like a round white grape lit from within. If it is possible to pilot one's way into a day, best way is with full moon above a river, color in the sky, and a route centered in openness, allowance for come what may. To be nimbly accepting the rough, easy, or arresting, received softly as massaging, hugging, holding your heart with the astonishment of wonder. Waiting for that poem to come. I want to shout out my Fourth Friday poets who are right here in the first row. I think a lot of you guys out there can relate to this. Waiting for that poem to come. But it's caught in the clouds behind my eyes, thick as the fog that hovers heavy above Mascoma River just downhill. I see it in the mornings now. First look out our back window, a floating grayness, ubiquitous, ominous, wetting all it touches, all that waits quietly, patiently for the sun. And I don't write in form much, but I have occasionally, and I've got 2 villanelles in this book, so I'll leave away from the microphone. Yeah. Ocean Villanelle. It's the sound that I love. It speaks to me, a song of connection, reminding of eternity, of death and return, the song of the sea, singing a tune of perpetual motion. It's the sound that I love. It speaks to me, the hiss and slurp, the whooshing plea of wave after wave, making commotion, reminding of eternity. Walking along beach trails, relaxed and free, this melody woos like a magnetic potion. It's the sound that I love. It speaks to me, a feeling of wonder and mystery, provoking awe, each minute detail perfection, reminding of eternity. Each grain of sand, seashell, weed, anemone, every swelling blue-green hue offering satisfaction. Ultimately, it's the sounds that I love. They speak to me, reminding my soul of eternity. And this is called Villanelle for My Planet. Villanelle for My Planet. Treat your home with love, it will sustain you. Unattended, webbing can tear. A net weave is strong when its connections are true. Our actions have changed things more than we knew. We haven't treated our surroundings with care. Treat your home with love, it will sustain you. Stories are told using many a hue, facts about deeds not always laid bare. A net's weave is strong only when its connections are true. The lies we were told by greedy oligarchs grew, their practice of depletion and pillage for profit not fair. Treat your home with love, it will sustain you. Let us rip open the veil and see through. We need all be invested in our habitats fair. A net's weave is strong when its connections are true. Time has come for action that's new. Create stewardship in which we all have a share. Treat home with love, it will sustain you. A net weaves as strong as its connections are true. That's enough for the villanelles. This is called Warning. The sky is broken, holding bad air. The air is poison, saturated with waste thrown from fire. Fire in forests north of here. Particles carry on currents of air, tides of our atmosphere. We are fish in a bowl of oxygen above, gravity below. We live in a terrarium we have poisoned with waste, altered the natural order. Off balance, we shake the snow globe, our bubble, and have to live in the turmoil of particle storms and swirls, blanketed in a communal quilt of angst. Breath has been a given gift. Somehow we had expected with ease, but now it's reneged, made conditional. Stop messing with me, Earth warns, or your air will not flow smoothly in and out of your lungs. It will need a filter, a cleaning. You must keep house better than this. Shared space. Ask me why I'm so drawn to the bird feeder outside our back window. I'll start telling you of big blue jays, cherubic chickadees, clumsy-beaked cardinals, finches, nuthatches, wrens, and even woodpeckers who appear eager for black oil sunflower seeds, hung in a tube with holes and perches. Looking out, I'm lost in feathers and swoops, satisfied hunger and cooperative acceptance of other in shared space. Not like our news headlines, stories focused on divisiveness, violence, need, exploitation, greed. The birds don't want all the food. They want to be fed, just like the rest of us. Somehow they manage to attend to need side by side, or in turn, yellow feathers near blue, red feathers near brown, black caps and tufted together, coexisting. Okay, and the other poem that's written in form in this book is a pantoum. So this is Any Day's Treasure. There's a walk I take every day, a regular route uphill to Reservoir and back. I've been walking this walk for years. When the sun has risen, chased away any fog, but shadows remain. I head uphill to the reservoir to feel centered, calm, and free. When the sun has chased away morning fog, but shadows remain, my precious time. To calm, feel centered and free. The sidewalk stretches out, a path in front of me. Precious time, pulse flowing from heart to limbs. The sidewalk path welcoming me. This repeated walk, my reliable pleasure, coaxing flow from heart to extremity. An everyday walk, the jewel in any day's treasure. Poem inspired by first line of River Roads, and there's an epigraph from Carl Sandburg, whose poem that is. Let the crows go by hawking their caw and caw. Let the chickadees sweep their ins and outs, swoop tree to feeder, feeder to tree. Let them do what small winged creatures do. Dragonfly, butterfly, hummingbird, bee, travel through air as if waves of the sea. How would it feel to be so free? I connect with place through ground, plodding a path, let me stride, sensing each step is sacred, and asking a practice of opening. Open, open, breathe, breathe, walk, walk, attaining the state of ease. At peace, serene, immersed in the moment, open to all, flourish to perish. This is a way to cherish, cherish. You can see how I was inspired by his repetition of caw and caw in that one, maybe. Okay, just a few more. Hope we're doing all right. Sorry for my sniffing. This is called Let Me Let Go Enough. Slate gray river, I saw you shining last night. Don't know if it was comet or satellite, but something hovered above you, beaming bright. Your ripples were alive with conversation. What was it you and the stars discussed while I lurked at our windows, binoculars in hand, trying to read the mystery as sleep evaded me in those hours when all is quiet, when most are asleep, dreaming. Seeking ease of mind, I take to peeping, the night sky so full of wonder, permitting escape, expansion, release from narrow perimeters. The riparian zone is far-reaching, as is the celestial one. There are really no borders where we try to place them, wanting to impose order that suits our desire for conquest. My zone extends beyond the container of skin and bones I call body. If I liquefy into ripples like a river, I can flow, I can fly. Last night I traveled to the stars, searching for peace. Treading water in the glittering swells, let me let go enough to float into dawn. Catching my eye, imagine a church pew lady's glove, white lacy upturned palm, cupping bees and butterflies, swaying gently on long stem, leaves like feathers of a green bird, many tiny blossoms together in a circle burst of celebration, decorating hot July fields, sharing wild ground with bindweed, black-eyed Susan. Call it Queen Anne's lace, bishop's lace, wild carrot, bird's nest. Call it summertime, heat waving off pavement, fields buzzing alive. Matured from tight cups to open parasols, floating in the sun like lily like lily pads on a glittering pond. Little flower clouds, clustered landing platforms for pollinators who flit between these blossom-spangled constellations in the sky of their field. I've got 3 more, so we're getting there. Peonies. The peonies, once pink-fisted babies' paws, have opened wide. Proudly now, they celebrate pink poise with luscious, strongly stated odor. A flagrant fragrance, nothing to hide. Mature blossoms, so full and weighty, they're pulled to earth where ants board sweet petal planks. A fleeting moment of time, from tight balls budding to blushing-cheeked potential, to becoming colossal, intricately detailed blossoms, open and spilling every secret, wide and so full they propel their own arc of descent down to the ground that nurtured them. Oh, that my journey and yours could be so complete, joyful from first stages to last, to leave that scent unforgettable, to live a life generous, authentic, unregrettable. This is called Summoning What is Dear. One more drink. Summoning What is Dear. I like to wear abalone's shell at my ear, a drop that hangs from silver, its glimmer holding all of ocean's wonder, all of smell and feel and hear. Above pebbled shores, gulls float and surf the air. Time and swell softened treasure is found alongside purple jellyfish, splayed near sandy seaweed strands and gnarls. Fluted clamshell crescents, crabs, translucent green sea glass, twist-shaped driftwood, flat disc sand dollars stamped with a star, secretly carrying tiny white doves. Speedy sandpipers with spindly legs racing salty waves, endless charge and retreat. A trick I do carries all this for me, summoning what is dear. I wear a shard of shimmer, once home to soft-bodied creature, held close, precious, iridescent, dangling as a promise, open as can be. And I'm just going to read the title poem, and then I was planning to end with the current one, the way I started the other one. So here we are at What I Ask. What I ask. Let me meet this day on its own terms, and let it greet me on mine. Together we will circle each other, slowly and with tenderness, with intention and attention. Gradually, eventually, we'll be in step, dancing a dance to the rhythms that surround us and hold us to each other as we dip and swivel, travel and swirl, Let me be the pearl, worn shiny and lustrous with time and grit, inviting my own unique light to emit, so I might step with confidence and love, and an understanding of preciousness. Let me greet this day as it comes, and let it hold me in caring arms. And last we have Awake to See the 2 a.m. stars. All is brushed with gold and yellow, leaves, grasses, blossoms, tinged by summer sun, turning now toward autumn. Goldenrod rules the fields alongside dried spikes of wild carrot and pudgy milkweed pods harboring still dewy seeds. In no time, these pods will be bark gray angel wings open to release white billows, each floaty fluff set free to follow a breeze. Evening arrives quickly now on the tail of long shadows. Lowering sun sparkles the tree line. As gusts river through leaves, they dance like sequins glittering an evening ball gown. While outdoors we can still move with ease, at bay all the impending harshness and hindrances that come as daylight hours retreat. Change in the wind brings on memory of frost encroaching, heavy coats needed, visible breath, runny noses, stiffened limbs, numbing fingers and toes. And the wonderings. How will we move forward? How will issues resolve? How will the vulnerable amongst us survive? Standing in dark hallway in front of upstairs windows while others are asleep, I peer out above the trees. Stars are showing as if tossed into the night sky, scatterings of small, brilliant lights. Thank you.